Now at 4:30, severe weather slamming the Great Plains for the 12th day in a row. Tornadoes reported from Colorado to New Jersey and severe flooding to the north. New abortion restrictions heading to lawmakers in several states today, including a Supreme Court decision and another challenge to Roe v. Wade. Governor Abbott signed a new bill that legalizes weapons for self-defense, but some worry it'll do more harm than good. We're getting your take.
From the KHOU 11 studios, this is H-Town Rush.
And good morning, guys, and welcome to H-Town Rush. It is Wednesday, May 29th, and we want to get right to an Amber Alert that was issued overnight. 2-year-old Ariel Smith, this is a picture of her. She went missing just after 2 o'clock this morning. She has a 2-inch scar on the right side of her neck and black braided hair. Henderson police up near Dallas are looking for this man in the photo with her. He's 41-year-old Lamarcus Smith. We don't know the relationship between the two just yet. We do know he stands 6 feet tall and has tattoos on his chest and right arm. Police aren't sure what kind of vehicle they might be in. Anyone with information is urged to call the number on your screen.
Okay, we are talking about breezy southeasterly wind. So a couple things you need to know here as we roll on into your Wednesday. Rip currents will very much be an issue yet again along the coast. So if you have the day you're planning to head out to Galveston, you're just up on the early side, really take note of that. Already sustained on the island around 22 miles per hour. And notice everyone talking breezy winds around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to about 25. Check out your current temperature, 80 degrees. We are feeling more into the mid 80s. It is sticky out there. This is one of the worst mornings that we've had. Really cloudy skies in place. We will talk more about some of the thunderstorm activity we're expecting as we head into tomorrow. And speaking of nationally, more than 50 tornadoes have touched down across 8 states overnight. This massive twister touching down just outside of Kansas City in Lidwin, Kansas, injuring at least 12 people.
All of a sudden, it's like rapid fire machine gun hitting the side of the house.
And more tornadoes reported from Colorado to New Jersey. Tuesday marked the first time in 40 years that at least 8 twisters were reported in 12 days. That severe weather threat extending to historic flooding along the Arkansas River. Homes and businesses now flooded in Arkansas, and Oklahoma officials urging Tulsa residents to evacuate, fearing their levees won't withstand the higher levels. That river is expected to crest at 20 feet above flood level today. We'll be following these storms and the damage left behind. You can find those details and updates on KHOU mobile app or on our website, KHOU.com. Now let's shift gears on this Wednesday and get on over to Steph for a check of the traffic.
All right, Tita, thank you. Good morning, and good morning, everyone. We have a serious situation going on in the Woodlands. It is against the grain of morning rush traffic, but we do have a full freeway closure here on your North Freeway. We had a terrible accident around 3 o'clock this morning. The investigation phase still continuing on here. It's at the Woodlands Parkway, and we have learned that someone unfortunately did lose their life in this accident, and we also know that it was a pedestrian that was crossing the freeway and was struck by a vehicle. So the southbound morning rush side is not impacted. You have to take the feeder road as an alternate route. Lisa.
Steph, thank you. Breaking news to get to this morning. A man was shot to death and his vehicle was stolen. It happened just after 1:30 this morning in Northeast Houston. That's where our Michelle Choi joins us live. Michelle, do they have any leads on a possible suspect this morning?
Lisa, that's what homicide detectives are scrambling to figure out this morning. You know, they've been talking to witnesses and looking for surveillance, but I've got to tell you, this is just an awful situation. Just moments ago, we finished talking to this man's cousin who identifies this man as 41-year-old Dante Green, a father of 4. And you know what happened? Basically, he was just sitting in his car parked in his own driveway here along Bogus Road, listening to music when someone came up and shot him several times, then took off in his car. Now, sadly, Green died here on scene, and what's even more heartbreaking, we're told this man lives with his mother who is handicapped, and she heard what happened, but she could not come out of the house. And guys, we also heard that his youngest son was still sleeping inside the house when his father was killed here in front of his own yard. That child still has no idea what has happened this morning. Now, police do not have much information on his killer or killers at this point. They have listed his car as stolen, but they say they will not be releasing that information until later today. But they're asking anyone with information to, of course, please call Crime Stoppers. That number is 713-222-TIPS. As for Mr. Green, well, his cousin tells us that he, again, is a father of 4. He was a good man, just in his own driveway, listening to music, doing his own thing when someone shot and killed him. Guys, back to you.
Hoping for some leads in the case. Michelle, thank you. More breaking news to get to overnight from Saudi Arabia. President Trump's national security advisor John Bolton says there was a failed attack on the Saudi port city of Yanbu. It is the final point in Saudi Arabia's east-west oil pipeline and was recently attacked by Yemen rebels. Bolton says he believes Iran is behind the attack. Saudi officials have yet to comment. This morning, one person is dead after a stabbing at an apartment complex near the Woodlands. It happened just before 7 last night at the Plantation at the Woodlands Apartments. Deputies are questioning a leasing office employee accused of stabbing a resident there. Community activist Quanell X says he is no longer the spokesperson for Brittany Bowens. Bowens is the mother of 4-year-old Malia Davis, who's been missing now for nearly a month. Quanell says he stopped working with her because he doesn't think she's being truthful about the case. Bowens has not been charged in her daughter's disappearance. Her ex-fiancé remains jailed on a tampering with evidence charge. New abortion restrictions are making their way through several states today. The Supreme Court upheld an Indiana law that required abortion providers dispose of aborted fetuses the same way as human remains. The justices did not get into the debate over a woman's right to an abortion in that state. And in Missouri, the state's only abortion clinic may be forced to close. Planned Parenthood is suing the state to keep its St. Louis location open. At least 15 states so far have enacted tighter abortion restrictions or outright bans. 5 states have passed heartbeat bills, and Louisiana is expected to pass its own heartbeat bill today. That state's governor says if it passes, he will sign it into law. A Houston fire captain is not allowed any contact with his 4-year-old daughter. A judge ordered that Rian Steckler cannot contact anyone under the age of 17, including his own child, after he was charged with 10 counts of possessing child pornography. Steckler's bail was set at $100,000. We have since learned the former fire captain has bonded out. Red flag warning still in effect along the Gulf after rough waves and rip currents left 3 people dead over the holiday weekend. The body of a 17-year-old from Rosenberg was found off Surfside Beach near Freeport yesterday after disappearing Sunday night. A 16-year-old boy from Spring drowned in Matagorda, and a 29-year-old man drowned in Galveston. Beach patrols are warning everyone to stay out of the water until those conditions are deemed safe. The Brazilian grandparents who went to prison for helping to kidnap their grandson from Houston are now suing their former son-in-law. They served their sentence for their role in the kidnapping of their grandson Nico from Houston to Brazil and are out of prison. Now they're suing their ex-son-in-law, Dr. Chris Brand, for fraud, perjury, and slander. They say Brand lied and went after them after their daughter took their son to Brazil and never returned. She claims she was the victim of domestic violence. Houston police are looking for a bold thief who was caught on camera. Look at this video right here. The suspect pretended to be interested in buying an English bulldog puppy, but when he met the breeder at a Southwest Houston parking lot, he took off with the dog. He even threatened to hurt the breeder if he tried to stop him. The puppy is worth $2,500. Call police if you know anything. Former Vice President Joe Biden made his first stop in Houston as a 2020 presidential candidate yesterday. He unveiled his education plan at a town hall meeting held by the American Federation of Teachers. He proposed tripling funding for schools with mostly low-income students, lowering teachers' student loans, and providing pre-K to all 3- and 4-year-olds. He also wants to double the number of health workers and support staff.
One of the things I think is essential, we need more nurses, psychologists, access to psychiatrists, social workers, and it has to start even before preschool.
Biden did not respond to personal attacks made by President Trump during a trip to Japan, but a senior aide to the Democratic hopeful called the comments beneath the dignity of the office. You can watch the whole event on the KHOU Facebook page.
And Bregman sends one deep to right field. Alex trying to give the Astros the lead again. He does!
Yeah, Alex Bregman leading the Astros to another victory over the Cubs. Bregman with 2 home runs, putting him at 17 total this season so far, and tying George Springer for the most home runs in the American League. Final score at 9-6. Next, the 2 wrap up their series tonight at Minute Maid. First pitch at 7:10. I love watching these guys together. I take a look at the sports blooper of the day. Look at this pitch. Look at the pitch. Oh, and the camera guy gets hit. A White Sox employee of the month threw a Pretty bad ceremonial first pitch that hit that still photographer, the guy in the glasses. The photographer says he and the camera, they're okay, but you can bet this replay will be shown for a long time. This is my fear, Cheetah. I'm not important enough to be asked to do something like that, but if I were, I'd say, you know what? I'm going to save everybody this experience. You have thrown out for the speeders, though, and you did a good job.
Oh my God, nothing beats that video, Lisa. I literally can watch that on repeat. I've seen it so many times, and just every time it just doesn't fail. Absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. Yes, you have to feel horrible after that, man. Because you know at some point you should either practice or thought about it ahead of time or something. Anyway, okay, live look in Galveston this morning. We are starting off breezy. Really, as the sun comes up this morning, we're going to see these winds just whipping away. Everyone going to be dealing with some strong winds at times. So your forecast for the beach, if you're planning to head on out, that rip current threat will remain in effect today. Now, temperatures in the mid 80s, southeasterly winds around 15 to 25 miles per hour. So you have to watch the winds again really closely, gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. Water temperature heating on up to 82. Now let's talk your temperatures. This morning, absolutely incredible. Almost a widespread or actual air temperature at 80 degrees at both airports, 80 in Pearland, 80 degrees on the island, 80 degrees in Huntsville. We're feeling, though, this morning, tacking on about 5 or 6 degrees, more into the mid to even upper 80s. So high pressure is the reason we can thank or blame for all the heat that we've seen over the past couple of weeks here. High pressure is breaking down, and that's going to allow for some thunderstorm activity for tomorrow. Now, I was hoping that, notice these isobars. When I was tracking this over the past couple days, they were a little bit tighter and more concentrated in North Texas and into Oklahoma. Now they're beginning to space apart, and that actually may allow for additional thunderstorm activity here locally. So I really think that Thursday into Friday going to be our days of concern. As far as today goes, about a 20% chance for a shower, Steph. Temperatures nearing 90.
All right, Cheetah, sounds good. Thank you. Let's take you to video of that full freeway closure shot earlier this hour. This accident happened around 3 o'clock this morning. The investigation phase continuing on here. This is the northbound side of the North Freeway in the Woodlands. So right there at Woodlands Parkway, it's a busy stretch, but luckily it is not on the southbound side. It would be much worse. Those southbound lanes not impacted. Take the feeder as your alternate. We'll stay on top of that for you as we take you to problems elsewhere. Now, we're not seeing any accidents other than that one in the Woodlands, but we do have a slew of stalls out there on several different freeways. So one is going to be inside that west loop on your northbound side of the Southwest Freeway. Also on the West Beltway as you head up towards the Katy Freeway, you're going to want to look out for that. And that's right at the toll plaza. We also have issues if you're heading into Greens Point. This car came to a stop at West Road, and then in Humble if you are heading south on your East Tex Freeway. If this happened in the 6 o'clock hour, it would be a big mess, but luckily traffic flow is quite light there, so not seeing a backup because of that breakdown. Lisa.
Okay, Steph, thank you. It is 4:42 right now, a landmark trial underway in Oklahoma. The outcome will set a precedent on who to hold responsible for the opioid epidemic in the U.S. A ban lifted on brass knuckles, clubs, and kitty keychains, all due to a case of self-defense. And this morning, we're getting your take.